Good morning, everyone, and thank you kindly for stopping by. Now, isopods go by a lot of common names, so whether you call them roly-polies, potato bugs, woodlice, pill bugs, it doesn't really matter. We're all collectively talking about isopods, and I personally find them absolutely fascinating creatures to observe and study. Crustaceans that live on land, and they breathe through gills, not lungs. What's not to like? So in today's episode of Isopod Talk, we're going to discuss not only isopods in general, but more specifically, highlight one amazing species, a truly fascinating species, and a true favorite of mine. The species in question is none other than Porcellio hoffmannseggi. So I hope you'll join me today. Often called the King or Titan Isopod in the trade, which are actually rather fitting titles for this. As far as land-dwelling isopods go, Porcellio hoffmannseggi is really a true giant. Now Wally over at Supreme Isopod has dubbed, I believe, 5 or 6 species now with the title of King Isopod. However, there can only be truly one king. Is Porcellio hoffmannseggi it? Well, I'll leave the common terms to others to choose. However, I will agree that this species is truly regal and fitting of such a title. As for Titan Isopod, I'm not really certain where this common name came from, but in doing a bit of research, I have found that several species of isopods have been given this moniker. Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines Titan as, number 1, any of a family of giants in Greek mythology born of Uranus and Gaia and ruling the earth until overthrown by the Olympian gods. Doesn't really apply. Or 2, one that is gigantic in size or power, and one that stands out for greatness of achievement. Now this one is definitely fitting of Porcellio hoffmannseggi. These wonderful isopods are within the order Isopoda, the suborder Onicidae, the family Porcelliononidae, and the genus Porcellio, based on Latreille's revision in 1804. This vast genus contains almost 200 described species. The species hoffmannseggi was formally described in honor by Brandt in 1833. Based on their fairly expansive distribution in southern Spain and Portugal, it's understood that there are 4 distinct subspecies listed in their description. Porcellio hoffmannseggi hoffmannseggi, Porcellio hoffmannseggi nementhi, Porcellio hoffmannseggi sordidus, and Porcellio hoffmannseggi tamarissus. Now the one in most collections that we have is the namesake itself. Now, as far as terrestrial isopods go, members of the genus Porcellio do not and are incapable of curling up into that characteristic roly-poly ball shape that is often associated with most isopods, such as their cousins Armadillidium and Cubaris. Porcellio hoffmannseggi is no exception. However, they are massive and incredibly impressive nonetheless. Adult males can easily reach 2 inches in size, and their massive uropods are most impressive as the males show them off as a sign of dominance. Males of breeding age can actually be fairly aggressive towards one another, so reculturing them requires lots of visual barriers to break up aggression, such as oak bark slabs, leaf litter, virgin cardboard, even egg cartons. One of the absolute coolest and most endearing facets of keeping this species, as well as others, is their intentional parental care of their offspring, affectionately called mankai. Perhaps one wouldn't expect complex parental behavior from such a creature. However, adult females will guard and herd their mankai about their environment until they are of size to go off on their own. Truly fascinating behavior and an incredible sight to see firsthand. Culturing Porcellio hoffmannseggi is rather straightforward as long as some extremes are avoided. Hailing from southern Spain and Portugal, this species can be kept in most homes at room temperature. Their native range is fairly arid, so a drier, compost-rich, loamy substrate will do fine as long as they have a moist area to retreat to should they require. Bear in mind, we must remember that isopods are in fact crustaceans and their gills must remain moist for them to survive. This species does not readily consume leaf litter or bark products. However, they do provide essential structure as well as visual barriers to control aggression within the environment. Their dietary constraints are easily met using most basic tropical fish food flakes or pellets, dried minnows. I also find that they'll readily consume several of the different formulas of gel foods, as well as some naturally sourced mosses and lichens. I personally have had the best success using distilled or reverse osmosis water. The addition of calcium carbonate, eggshells, and cuttlebone provide the essential calcium needed for growth and molting. Porcellio hoffmannseggi is somewhat a seasonal breeder and generally only reproduces twice a year, at least based on my observations. Broods are generally smaller than some species, but the mothers of hoffmannseggi are exceptional and take very, very good care of their mankai. Porcellio hoffmannseggi can easily live up to 2 years in captivity. In my cultures, I've started to find a few morphs developing. There's some chocolate-colored ones, and they're fairly frequent. But more recently as well, I've been seeing some that are solid white, such as this, and they are quite striking. Time will tell if I can isolate the solid white ones and breed them true. I think you can see why I find Porcellio hoffmannseggi to be such an impressive and fascinating isopod. It's definitely worthy of the title of King Isopod, should you wish. However, if you choose another common name, well, I won't be bothered. I like all isopods. As always, I thank you, my friends, for joining me today. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and ringing that little bell for all future notifications. Until next time, thanks for watching.